I think that's great. Okay, we're going to move to these biohacker questions next. What personal biohacks are part of your daily life?
Okay, personal biohacks that are part of my daily life. I've focused a lot on the baseline things just due to certain things can be expensive. Supplements, additional sort of red light therapy and these sorts of things. I have been lucky recently and over the past summer to be working in a place that does allow me access from time to time to red light therapy, PEMF, AI, adaptive resistance technologies. So I have been incorporating those things, but fundamentals that I stick with daily is stepping outside when I wake up and getting some sunlight in the morning. There is a lot of sunlight here. So even in the winter, even if I'm not getting, vitamin D stimulation from the sun in the winter, I'm still getting that for circadian rhythm. So that has been a foundation. Sunlight, going outside, sticking with the basics. I have also toyed with some biohacking of my diet. So I would often do somewhat of an intermittent fasting sort of schedule, which I find helps with cognitive benefits, is restricting my eating window. And then looking at supplementation, sure. I also with that look at basics like magnesium. Throughout the daytime, I treat coffee as quite the biohack as well. Thinking about timing with that, about an hour and a half after waking. Every month or so I will take, more like 3 months actually, who am I kidding? I will take about a week off of coffee just to kind of reset that. And that is kind of the biohacking regime, if you will, incorporating fitness with that. I will do band exercises and using that to kind of stimulate adaptive resistance similar to the AI adaptive resistance, what I've been able to use for the last summer or so. That kind of is the general lowdown of biohacks that I do on a mostly day-to-day or certainly weekly basis.
How much time do you think it buys you? How much time do you think that this all will buy you?
Time like lifespan?
Yeah.
Or like day-to-day?
Like
yeah.
Biohacking.
It's fascinating. So I saw this graph once, which was like projected human lifespans, and then an increase above that overlaying on top human lifespan if you're doing things that we know of today that work, like certain diets, exercise, avoiding certain things, and it gets you up, maybe into the 100 to the 120s, the lifespans that we know of today. Going above and beyond that is something that I believe as well, to get to that level, I don't think is actually available with what we have access to currently. That above and beyond 120, I think will incorporate different sorts of technologies and innovations, gene therapy, etc. I'm not exactly sure on that. I just know that this is being looked into and explored, and I think those will become available. So right now, I subscribe to the idea of like you're improving your health span as much as you can currently, and then you want to get to that, you want to be around long enough to access the escape velocity, where the innovations have come in and we can actually crack the codes about how to expand beyond what we know possible currently. That's my answer to that. So I'm buying as much time as possible, and I feel like I'm lucky to be in a younger age range.
That's awesome. What motivates your own pursuit of health? Is it curiosity, fear, etc.?
Oh, that's really interesting. I think a bit of both. I have been stimulated a lot by fear because of questionable choices throughout like high school sort of age and like late teens, early adulthood, definitely with like younger than advised alcohol exposure and other sorts of party kind of modalities, playing video games, not being considerate about when I'm going to bed, when I'm waking up, all those sorts of things, eating fast food, all of that sort of stuff, things that for a lot of people are normal. But for me, as I kind of became aware of the negatives of all of those, I started to think, I've probably done some sort of damage at a time when I should have been, taking advantage of being in your late teens, early 20s. So fear has motivated it, but that fear I just turned into curiosity. And then I look at what is possible. I'm not so much like actually afraid, but it is a good motivator to think, hey man, Like you probably did some bad stuff to yourself in the past, so like don't let up. You know, you need to get serious about this. But then the curiosity comes from like, man, there is so much that is potentially possible, and that is fun, and that is cool, and let's just pursue this.
What is your vision of the future in the world of health, wellness, aging? You know, what's going to be what important in the future that isn't important now?
Oh, that isn't important now?
Mm-hmm. So what's your vision, and then what needs to be important in the future that it's not now?
So my vision for the future of health is really, you know, I buy into and believe these sorts of visions of, breaking down a lot of barriers that have been perceived throughout all of human history in terms of our health. You know, even so far as like, you know, you see the genetic sort of tweaks that they can do to cows to make them jacked, you know, and all of a sudden gaining muscle is easy because we can understand the body at that cellular level. And then in terms of what needs to be important to make that happen, or what needs to be focused on, I think we're already heading in that direction in many ways. So different advancements in technologies, I really think, as much as it is kind of like the buzzword, but I don't know if we will be able to figure these things out without this sort of super intelligence that we are being promised being developed through AI. So I don't know. My vision for the future is, I think, about as sci-fi as it gets, but I think it is more practical. Maybe that's the thing that would need to change, is people need to understand that this is actually a practical future, not a future from the movies. This is actually where we are heading, and it's more of a collective mindset that we'll need to change to allow ourselves to accept that and to be open to it.
What do you need to get ready for that future?
What do you need to get ready? Exactly as I just ended on. The mindset needs to change. The mindset needs to develop to adapt. I think we're kind of silly in society in a lot of ways, and maybe it is partly like media and movies' fault. You know, we kind of put in this category of like sci-fi, science fiction, because of, you know, Star Wars and Star Trek and these sorts of things. So part of it allows us to see the future potential, but then on the other hand, we hear these things like humanoid robots and these sorts of things, and then we think of them as like, oh, that's cool, but that's just in the movies. So I think we maybe need to get serious about accepting that these innovations can be real, are real, and you can always look back 20 years ago and think, what did we not think was possible then, and what came to be, and then use that framework to look forward.
It's like you're writing these questions. If you could give one piece of advice to someone anticipating 10 years from now, what would it be?
I think I did just answer that, didn't I? Is to think the piece of advice would be, look back 10 years, look back 20 years. What did you miss? What did most people miss that came to be? And then try to apply that thinking looking into the future.
And finally, how would you invest if you were looking forward 100 years?
Yeah, how would I invest if I was looking forward 100 years? I think that question is probably like invest maybe financially, but also like invest your time and effort into.
Yeah, I think that's what it means.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think the future is going to, 100 years in that time range, is going to be so much more different than we could ever predict, even trying to use these hacks to predict, that, oh man, it's a really tricky question. I think the areas to look at will be so different than what we were used to. My answer to that, if I have to just choose, would be like physics, very general and very vague. I would invest my chips into the corner of physics, in that there will be new things discovered in that realm, and that is where we should be looking for the answers and the solutions going forward 100 years from now.
Yeah, and just to case it on a biological sense, how would you invest in yourself
yeah.
if you were looking forward 100 years?
Yeah, I think similar sort of answer. I think like 100 years from now, I guess, yeah, I don't so much working with the biology, not so much working with uploading your conscious into a different body or something like that. I think that there will be a lot of opportunities to work from the biological level up instead of incorporating and adding physical technology in. Yeah, my investments are with what we already got, maybe, is the answer. How's that?
Perfect. That's
Okay.
great.
Awesome.
Thank you. That was
Thanks.
awesome.